Now, this is the second last topic of engineering mechanics. So, in this topic, we will just revise whatever we have learned so far, and if something is missing, that has been included in this second last chapter. So, the first topic is simple harmonic motion in terms of circular motion. So, simple harmonic motion is a linear motion along a line, along a curve, along a one direction. Okay. So, if it's happening linearly, then this is means vibration happens like this. If it's a pendulum, then this is the motion of a pendulum. Okay. So, simple harmonic motion in terms of circular motion. So, this is the points, or this is the circular motion. Okay. So, this is the circle that has been made, and the radius of the circle is a small r. Omega is the angular velocity with which the body is performing the angular motion. Okay. This O is the center of the circular motion, center of the circle. Okay. And theta is the angular movement happened. Okay. So at any point, this is V is the tangential velocity at that point. Okay. So V is the tangential velocity of this point, and this R is perpendicular to this tangential velocity. Okay, now considering the points, so at the extremes, so A and B are the extreme points. So at the extreme points, velocity is equal to 0. Okay, so this is 0 vector. 0 vector means magnitude is 0 and direction is everywhere. Okay, so if we are equating vector, then the another quantity should also be a vector. Okay, so at the extremes, velocity is equal to 0, and when velocity is equal to 0, then kinetic energy is equal to 0. Now energy is always conserved, so whether it's a combination of kinetic energy or potential energy, or only kinetic energy or only potential energy, so in this case kinetic energy is 0, so whatever the energy is remained is the potential energy. So potential energy is maximum at the extreme ends. Why? Because kinetic energy is 0. Okay, at the center, okay, at the equilibrium position, so center is the equilibrium position in the simple harmonic motion. So at the equilibrium position, we have the net force is equal to 0. Okay, so at point O, or the equilibrium position, kinetic energy is maximum, acceleration is equal to 0, no acceleration, and kinetic energy is maximum. Now kinetic energy is maximum means velocity is equal to maximum. Now displacement from the mean position, so O is the mean position. Okay, so displacement from the mean position is equal to r of cos theta, because this is r and this is x, so x is equal to component of r, which is cos theta, r cos theta. Also at any time or at any point, velocity is equal to, which is the tangential velocity or linear velocity. So tangential or linear velocity v is equal to omega into r square minus x square under root. So r is the radius and x is the displacement from the mean position. Okay, so it is also equal to omega into r sin theta. Now the maximum velocity which is happening at the equilibrium position or the mean position or the center of the circular motion is equal to omega into r. Okay, okay, now component of centripetal acceleration along the displacement x. Okay, so centripetal acceleration means towards the center, and this acceleration is happening along the displacement. Okay, so along the displacement, the component of centripetal acceleration is equal to minus of omega square r into cos theta, because r is radius vector starting from the mean position or center to that point. Okay, and centripetal acceleration is towards the center. That's why minus sign has been given. So omega square into r cos theta. Omega is the angular velocity in radian per second. R is the position vector or radius vector, and cos theta is the angle. Cos theta is the component. Okay, so this is also equal to minus of omega square x, because x is equal to r cos theta. That's why this is also minus of omega square x. Now acceleration is 0 at the mean position. F net, so net force acting at the mean position is equal to 0, and the mean position is also known as equilibrium position. So equilibrium means net force is equal to 0. Okay, so acceleration is 0 at the mean position. Now any motion that is a simple harmonic motion, in that kind of motion, means in simple harmonic motion, the acceleration is always proportional to the displacement, that we can see x. Okay, so acceleration is always proportional to the displacement and is always directed towards the center. So this is minus sign. Okay, so it's always directed towards the center. Now amplitude is the maximum displacement from the mean position. Okay, so in the circular motion, the maximum displacement is the radius of the circle. Now time period. So time period is the time to complete one revolution, the whole complete motion. Okay, one complete circular motion or one complete revolution. So this is the time required for that motion is equal to time period. So time period is the time to complete one revolution or one circular motion. Time period is equal to 2 pi by omega. Now we know that acceleration in the simple harmonic motion is equal to omega square into x. So we replace this omega with x and a, and we get time period Tp is equal to 2 pi into under root of x by a. X is the displacement and a is the linear acceleration. Okay, and x is the linear displacement. Now if we are dealing with a torque, means the in terms of when the motion is caused by a torque or torsion, then time period 2 is equal to 2 pi into theta by alpha. So theta is the angular displacement and alpha is the angular acceleration. Now in this formula that we can see that time period is independent of amplitude. Okay, amplitude is the maximum displacement and we don't have any term that is related to amplitude. Okay, so time period is independent of amplitude. Now frequency. So frequency is the number of oscillation per second which is equal to inversely to the time period. Okay, so nu, the frequency is in hertz is represented by nu. So nu is equal to 1 by time period. Now time to move from the equilibrium position or the mean position to the maximum displacement, which is the amplitude, means time to get one amplitude or time to get to the maximum displacement is equal to 1 by 4 of the time period. Okay, that we can see that from the mean position the maximum displacement is known as amplitude. That's why it happens 4 times in a time period. That's why time to move from equilibrium position or mean position to the maximum displacement is equal to time period by 4. Now we will see vector addition. Okay, so in vector addition we have three laws. First law is triangle law of vector addition. So triangle of vector addition means there are 3 sides of any triangle. So if at one side, if at 2 sides you are putting 2 vectors a and b, and both are in the along the side, okay, and the resultant is opposite to that sense. Okay, so a and b are going in a anti-clockwise direction and r is coming in a clockwise direction, or this is the motion of a into b. A and b have the same synchronization, and R is opposite to that. Okay, so this is the triangle of vector addition. Then this is A, this is B, and this is R. Okay, so R is in the opposite to that of the A and B sense. Whatever the sense is of A and B, R is opposite to that. Okay. Similarly, polygon law of vector addition. When you have more than two vectors, then you have to start making a polygon, and the last side will give you the resultant. Okay, and here also the sense of the vectors are same. Whatever we are adding are in the same sense, and the resultant is the opposite to that. Okay, so vectors are arranged in this way and resultant is this way. Starting from the starting from the initial position, this is the resultant. Now parallelogram law of vector addition. Okay, so in the parallelogram law of vector addition, same, the two sides are taken as the sides of a parallelogram, and this diagonal is known as resultant. Okay, so resultant have an inclination of alpha with the horizontal, and A and B are having a included angle of theta. Okay, so vectors can be moved. So B has been moved here, and this is B. Okay, so we get resultant R is equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. That can be seen from this figure. Okay, so this is the triangle. Okay, A plus B cos theta, and this is B sin theta. These are the components of this R resultant. Okay, so R is equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, and the inclination alpha is equal to B sin theta plus A plus B cos theta. These are the magnitudes only, no directions. Okay. Now we will understand tension and stresses also. Okay, so tension is always a pulling force. Okay, whenever you see tension is always the pulling force offered to any surface to which it is in contact. Okay, so if it is in contact with a sphere, it is pulling the sphere. If it is in contact with a fixed support, then it is pulling the fixed support. Okay, it is trying to pull the fixed support, and here it is trying to pull the mass mg. Okay, mass m. Okay, so tension is the pulling force offered by a stressed body or rope or a string on any contacting surface or body. So at any contacting surface, tension is always the pulling force. Okay, so here it is pulling this circular ball or a spherical ball, and here it is pulling the fixed support. Now tension is here, the reaction is upside, and this mg weight is acting downwards. That's why this tension is upside. Okay, now whenever you give any load to any body, the body will give an reaction to that load, and that reaction is known as a stress. Okay, now the stress has a magnitude depending upon the relaxation that has been provided for the deformation. So whenever there is no place to move or deform freely, the stress is always due to the, okay, so load is equal to a stress. So when there is no place to move or deform freely, that the case will be of the maximum stress. And when you have provided some relaxation, then cutting that relaxation portion means leaving that relaxation, whatever the stress, whatever the load the body bears will cause the stress. Okay, so stress is the reaction of the body given to the load provided. So load is the external thing and stress is the internal thing. Okay, so load is provided externally and a stress is accumulated in the body due to inability to move or deform freely. So as we can see in the case of thermal expansion, so due to this thermal expansion, delta L has been increased. Okay, so L alpha delta T, L is the initial length, alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion, and delta T is the change in temperature. So this bar will deform to the distance delta L due to the temperature. But if you are giving a relaxation of L dash, then delta L minus L dash will cause the stress. Okay, so stress will happen if delta L exceeds the relaxation given. Okay, otherwise there will be no relaxation because body is free to deform and it is free to move freely. That's why it will not have any stress to the load provided or the load given. So similarly, we can see second law of motion, that external force or the net external resultant force is equal to mass of the body into acceleration of the center of the mass. Now this is the applied or external force, and this is the reaction that the body gives. As long this force is acting, the body will keep giving this reaction, means body will keep on accelerating as much as the force or external force applied. Okay, so application of external force sets the body into accelerated motion. If A is in the direction of the initial motion, means the external force is giving the body acceleration in the same initial motion, in the direction of the same initial motion, then velocity will increase. And if the external force is causing to hamper the motion that has been happening or trying to restrict the motion that is happening before, then because this will give you a negative acceleration. So if in that case, if A is in the direction of initial motion, then velocity increases, and if the F is giving an acceleration that is in the direction opposite to the initial motion, then velocity decreases. Okay, so acceleration of center of the mass is in the direction of net external force or net external force resultant net. So acceleration of center of mass is in the direction of external force or net resultant force applied on the body. If the net force acting on the body is equal to 0, then body is at rest, or in the case of uniform motion. So rest means velocity is equal to 0 and uniform motion means v is equal to constant, linear velocity is equal to constant. Similarly, external torque or net external torque is equal to I alpha Cm. So I is the mass moment of inertia about the axis of rotation, and alpha Cm is the angular acceleration of the center of the mass. Okay, so if the same like that, you are just using torque in case of angular motion. So same as in the linear motion, the force is happening, and the angular motion torque is happening. So whatever the thing the force was giving to the linear motion, the same thing this torque will do to the angular motion. Now if a body is in equilibrium under the action of two forces, then these two forces are concurrent. And if a body is in equilibrium under the action of three forces, then all these three forces are concurrent. Okay, now friction angle is equal to tan alpha, which is equal to coefficient of friction, is equal to, this is the load F or the force F, and N is the normal reaction. So this is the weight W or force mg or ma, and friction angle alpha is obtained from tan alpha is equal to coefficient of friction, which is the kinetic coefficient of friction. Okay, kinetic coefficient of friction is equal to F by N. So F is the frictional force and N is the normal reaction. F is the frictional force and N is the normal reaction. Now rolling friction is equal to mu r into N. This has been written R, change it to N. N normal reaction. Change it to N. This is not R, this is N, normal reaction. So mu into R into N by R. So r is the radius of the rolling, okay, and this radius is in millimeter, okay. So mu r into n, it has been written r, change it to n. N is the normal reaction, mu r is the coefficient of rolling friction, and r is the radius of the roller that is rolling, okay. So thank you.